I want to show you something you may have never seen before, and that is how people go record breaking on the storm lamps in the wild west of America. Uh, in between the films, which had to be rewound each time, I took Steve to answer any questions. But they must come up and tell me because I'm as deaf as a post. I'll go through the list of items. The first one is the 12-hour world record with a car which I built the speed of the wind with the Rolls-Royce Coastal motor at an average speed of about nearly 164 miles an hour. That was taken into consideration stopping. And it means running and driving at about 172 all the time on a 10-mile circuit. And also with a land speed record with Thunderbird. It's quite a short film, taken by an amateur years ago in colour. It had a magnetic soundtrack, which I gave a commentary on. But unfortunately, we can't produce that here because your machine is a different kind. Okay? But I'll try and, if it's necessary, explain a bit about it. I expect it to be pretty evident. The other time, an R-sound film. And the second one is MG International Speed Record with a car that they built for me originally. And I did, I think, 12 hours and 120 to start with. But this film will show it going very much quicker. And Lockett, 10 miles of Lockett. Now, Lockett was quite an expert motorcycle racer. He competed in the Isle of Man many times in those days. The third film will be International Speed Records with an Austin Healing car, which I have to take part. And the last one, that we don't have an interval in the middle, is the fastest ever MG, the 181, which Sterling Moss drove in 1957. So I'll ask Ron to make a start. It's to do those sort of things. Even the salt that's I think I managed to get 12 miles, yeah, but it really wasn't enough. It's that the difficulty is pulling out. You see, the car weighs nearly 7 tons, and it's just like being on a runaway railway truck. It goes on and on and on. And you have air brakes, it's true. You see, this was years ago, and long before they used parachute brakes. It would be simple if you had those. But one had small air brakes, they had to be very small area because to be effective at all, they had to be put out at max speed. And even then, they crickled in all the panels behind, between window stones. You have to wait till you've got down to about 180 miles an hour before you could use the mechanical brakes. And they were specially designed for me. They were disc brakes with self-ventilated disc brakes. And it was pretty remarkable. They could be used at that speed. But it was ages and ages, something like 4.5 miles before it got down to 180 miles. Left. I even had to go around circles twice. At one end and then bob at the other end. You really? Good. Around the circles. Jackie Cooper, who made the Hawksbill there, was one of the child actors on the screen for many, many years in Hollywood. And Carol Shelby, one of the drivers, was very well known afterwards in all the Grand Prix races, and he had a full team and Le Mans and all kinds of things to follow. So it was rather historical. I remember, I don't think it's mentioned there on the film, but I think a wheel collapsed was here, all I remember. And what does depend tremendously on the dryness of the flash. Those circles could be very, very slippery if it wet. one has to wait to NWR in Robinson District. I remember once, I think it was on a 24 hours with a big car with beams of wind, front wheel drive. The car burst about 152 and was left the track was considerably high and couldn't gain control. And I remember missing a big bank of salt down 3 feet. Okay. Back and forth as much as 2 feet high, but then it's in its half thing. And well, you get felt bad. But on those records, like 24 hours, obviously night driving and 48 hours, and have done 2 nights, 3 days. One, the tremendous gamble on the weather conditions that actually exist in Britain that night, or on the second day, or so on. If the wind gets up, it can be very, very nasty. Talking about winds there on Salt Marsh, the one is subject to sort of hurricane winds that came there. I remember sitting out having supper like we had just now on the packing cases, and when the wind came up at about 80 miles an hour, something blew all the plates in the air. And some of my men got into a caravan on wheels. It was there to get out of it. And the caravan started moving in the wind, and it went disappeared. They got out, of course, and scotched the wheels up, a bit of another one, but the wind changed 180 degrees, and they were blown back to where they came from. I think the next will be the last film, and then we'll show you the fastest ever MG. It was on show at Lithgow Hall, August the 1st to the 11th, an exhibition there, and you all see it in pictures now. It's been entirely repainted and all the rest of it, and it was quite a gamble having twin cam engine with 30 pounds supercharged. The engine developed something like 230 horsepower, as far as I can remember, only 1500 cc. And the interesting part was that this film, I think, takes place in 1957 when Sterling bought the car, and it was sent to Australia and all over the shop and almost forgotten. And I got it resurrected again for 1959, 2 years later. We had 2 more power units made, we only used the one, and it did the whole thing over again, over 250 miles an hour for the second time. I was asked at Edible here to explain about the engines in the land speed record car Thunderbird. There were 2 Rolls-Royce engines. They originated in the 1931 Snyder Trophy competition in the Solent. As you know, Rolls-Royce won that race, and afterwards did an airspeed record of over 400 miles an hour. I had 2 engines. One was the one that won the Snyder Trophy race. It is now at the RAF Museum at Edmund, and the other engine had 2 airspeed records to its credit, about 352, and I had 3 land speed records, that very same power unit, and that is in the Science Museum in South Kensington. I lost the car in New Zealand from the fire, but I put dummy engines in, and the original engines are here for posterity. The 2 engines are unique because they held the land speed record and the airspeed record at the time. Yeah, that's the end of our performance tonight. I hope you enjoy the middle bit of it. Very nice of you to invite me to come here tonight. I haven't done this sort of thing for many, many years now, but very tempting to show something that took place in Southampton, for example. This last car, you saw, jumped on the Queen Mary in Southampton. Of course, it's many years ago now, but it's still very fresh in the memory. And I think we ought to congratulate the operator of this cinema machine tonight. It's done it very, very nicely indeed. Thank you very much. In the USA, scattered all over the continent, and they've been going for years. And they're very enthusiastic people, and they have the MG magazine, every member, and they're well looked after, and it just shows you what happens to them. I mean, the clubs in Australia, clubs in Holland, clubs in Germany, clubs in Germany, and you're one of the best of them.